Hi everybody!
We're back.
This is Ben.
And this is Ildi.
And we're on the last episode of this BTS Map of the Soul.
Persona.
Thank you. Persona album review. And thank you guys for staying with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it and, we basically said something that you might not, knew about, and it's full of funny anecdotes and everything. So we're on the last song of the album, which is going to be Dionysus. Is this the correct English pronunciation?
Something like that.
Dionysus. There. So now we're going to watch the live performance of it, and then we're going to read the lyrics and kind of look into it. And the second part is going to be about the overall review of the album, but not just ours.
But that's from Western media.
Western media.
Pitchfork, we coming for you.
Yeah, and Rolling Stone and everybody else. So many people wrote about BTS that it's just...
No, of course,
insane.
they have to. They're popular. Yeah. They hit like #1 in the album chart.
So there you go.
You have no choice, even if you hate them, to write about BTS.
Yeah, well, hopefully they got a bit more educated about different music from all around the world. Let's see.
Wouldn't bank on it. There we go, nice. Nice cultured piano intro.
Okay, this is so me, so first of all. If this would be classical musicians react, they would know what it is, but
yeah, we don't.
They are amazing, we love them. I really like this intro part, to be fair. Again, it reminds me of early BTS, of when they used all sorts of sampling. Are they wearing togas?
like capes.
Yeah. It's like a classic.
Oh yeah, it's like togas, isn't it?
And he has Dionysus's stick as well. This is literally what the god was painted with. It's interesting, it's highly conceptual. In a sense that, Vix and bands like that go with the I'm gonna dress up as a god.
Yeah, but Vix would have committed way harder than that.
For sure.
They would have been, insane.
Vix is awesome as well. What a beautiful man. Just saying.
All about them shots. They could learn something from Lil Jon.
Yeah. At first I was really surprised on this music. I was just like, where is this coming from?
Why so?
Because the previous songs were so different. And I was like, I thought that they were going to end on a different note in terms of the album. That it's not going to go all crazy and, acid party or whatever.
Yeah, I thought it was weird they ended with this.
I thought it's going to be like a middle song and then we're going to end up on a coda. But this is like stirring up emotions at the end of the album. Which is like, it's an open question instead of, here is your answer. This is a...
Oh.
I like
BAP one shot coming in.
I really wanted to...
Just a harmony theme.
Yeah, because in this song, it... Obviously, it has like a...
To be honest, there's so much auto-tune you probably wouldn't hear them anyway.
I just wanted because it adds to this whole, goth rock party concept when you add on those classic rock vocals.
Yeah.
Sugar is so awesome though.
I saw they made the dancers overlap.
Yeah. This reminds me of August D, of drunk sugar tripping again, isn't it? It's like...
Totally is August D.
This is August D. Yes, we are. Okay. Okay, this works much better
I wanted
live.
so much more of this
Yeah.
than we actually got.
This is. Oh, this is cool. Oh, 1 and 5. I like the BTS energy. The signature energy is coming back in this song, I think.
Yeah.
J-Hope!
Striking that pose.
Yeah, and this is the family picture. The Christmas family picture.
That's how my family all post for pictures. We're all in our own chairs next to each other.
Oh, got back.
Looking like anime villains.
Oh, and he walks out of the frame. Interesting. I don't know.
So, base opinions on the song. This one has the most good parts, but I don't necessarily think they came together that well, personally. Like, there's so many good parts. Like, the intro's awesome, like the super, like later on with the fucking crazy headbanging rock bit and like all of that. But then, like, I was let down by the chorus. I don't like the chorus. I generally don't like choruses where it's the same thing over and over again. The like that's all it is the whole time.
It sounds to me as a cry out for help because, like, the thing I mentioned.
It's not intense enough for that, though. I don't think.
Yeah. I think it could be more intense. Like, I want BTS to go full on. Like, I was just like in your face energy. Like, you know what? It's like, you know, rage and that sort of thing. I think it's like the restrained pain sometimes really work with certain concepts. Like, I think this could be like even crazy or whatever. But at first when I heard it, I was just like, I didn't know where to put it because it's like it ended on a discord, if that makes sense. The whole album ended on something that was just like unexpected in the sense of like
so different to everything else on the album.
Yeah, and again, like, I'm not sure because it's kind of hard to know what the goals are with these songs in a sense, like the concept of, you know, next albums, because now we are starting a new era, etc. BTS world. So it's almost like, is this then when I throw away that mask of persona, I'm just like ripping it apart and just going crazy with in terms of musicality? It's kind of like, I'm not sure what the music sends as a message. So again, if you have any, you know, thoughts on it, or you saw anything, the press conference, then please let us know. So this was kind of my, you know, impression of the song.
Was I the only one that was like, can we have one song that doesn't have crazy falsetto?
Yeah.
Like that super duper high bit in the chorus just put me off.
I don't know.
I don't know why. Like I like their falsetto usually, but in this I was just like, what is this?
You know,
it felt really out. I think because it was trying to be like a big man swaggering like rock rap song, and then that came in. I was like, what's this doing here?
I think that's interesting because obviously it was merging so many different genres, but I think that high note could work better if somebody's like singing it out, you know, singing it live. So it's not like in the background, but it's part of like, remember, like obviously it's a completely different song, so we are not comparing it, but like, you know, remember B2B's I'll Be Your Man.
I love that song.
Obviously that song is super theatrical and everything. If it would be the high notes would be just in the background, you would be just like, why are they trying so hard? But because they committed so much to the concept, it was like, I'll be your man, and every single high note was just
when they had that three-way harmonized
I pray, yeah.
That was awesome.
Baby, I pray.
Oh, that was so good.
Do you get what I mean? So I think with that one, and they just fully committed. Obviously, B2B is a very different group. So like the possibilities of what they can do and their style is just so different. But it's almost like, in that sense, like, I don't know who sang that high note. It sounded like Jin to me. It's like, just imagine that live in a kind of like, you would have the rock music, the setting for me.
The thing is, though, I think that's my problem, is that like everything else is so loud and intense and like hard. Like they're trying to have this awesome like overdriven guitar and this like swaggering hip hop and all this stuff, and then like they've got a falsetto high note. I just don't think it fits.
Maybe,
like it's going to get drowned out unless you've got crazy high mics compared to everything else. Like. It just, I don't know about it.
It's interesting because it feels to me like I can basically, if I put my, you know, trust in BTS, which I usually do, and their production team, because I'm curious, like, who produced this one? Because this was probably the most K-pop in a sense that, like,
I think this one was like P-Dog and people.
Like, this was the most
pretty sure it was
experimental. P-Dog, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's like, this was like the most K-pop experimental song, like the most risk-taking, the least smooth, the most like, what are these parts? Which are essential elements that we like about K-pop, but it's almost like it was purposefully trying to leave us confused.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been so odd if it had been earlier in the album. If they'd swapped this and Microcosmos in placing, it would have made more sense.
Yeah. So that is a very interesting point. And on that note about, maybe us being confused, many others were confused as well. And this is the part. This is the fun bit. When we bring out our notes, we read through a couple of articles and I printed out a couple which I found just really, really interesting. And why we thought this is an interesting exercise, I'm trying to force Ben to kind of write again, because you used to write for
24-hour K-pop.
Great. And I'm trying to get him back into writing again for Soul Beats and United K-pop, because he would be awesome. So the interesting thing is 24-hour K-pop is only for like a K-pop site, isn't it? So everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's like a cable TV channel in San Francisco Bay Area. Mm-hmm. But they had like an online bit and they were taking writers, so I wrote some stuff for them.
That's really great, because some people, like, nowadays it felt to me that every news outlet is trying to put out some sort of BTS related article, because obviously the buzz was just so massive about them. It's click. That is a good one. Anyways,
so cheesy.
Yeah, we're getting more Korean show in this one. So it's just and in many cases, personally, I felt that they were kind of either getting it really, really, right on certain points, or missing the point. And this was the most confusing songs out of them all. So I kind of collected a couple of, things. And for this with Dionysus, Rolling Stone magazine writes to us, as always, this is about the album. The group flits through styles from early Def Jam rap rock to galloping electropop to breathy balladry, and languages singing Korean, English, and sprinkle of Spanish. See home. Thank you. For BTS, the zigzags are a standard. Why is this interesting? I personally think because zigzags are a standard for K-pop.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So what would you say about that quote, Ben?
I think it's funny because, like, they talk about all of the genre hopping and zigzags and stuff. I don't think this genre hopped all that much, this album. I thought it was way more consistent than most of what BTS put out. Like, you compare this to Love Yourself Tear, it's like night and day. Like, this is, like, pretty consistent until you get to Dionysus.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you look at their other albums and it's like, okay, this is, like, Latin, like, reggaeton. This is, like, hardcore hip-hop. This is, like, a rock ballad or whatever. And it's like, what? Whereas this is not like that. This is like, oh, it's this. Okay, yeah, it's fairly similar but changing a little bit.
Yeah, this goes back to the point that I think with the previous album, we were where the world started to pay attention and to BTS, which is again sometimes problematic because it's like NCT had an awful experience in New York when people were trying to, some uneducated people, like ignorant, they were just like, oh, some Asian looking people, they must be somebody else.
Oh, they thought they were BTS, didn't they? Because there's no Asian Asian boys that aren't called BTS. That's how that works, right?
Yeah, it's
pretty
kind
sure it is.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but hopefully if it went pretty viral.
And someone interviewed. It was paparazzi. So they were chasing Blackpink and asked them if they like BTS.
Oh, really? That happened? Yeah. That is so sad.
Yeah, when they were trying to have some downtime.
That's bad. Anyway, obviously this is not the artist's fault on any level, but it's just something. It just kind of points out that that I was thinking that the reference toolkit is so different. So when we talk about things, and this is true for Soul Beats, and this is though for Billboard, Jeff Benjamin and Kamal Herman. Yes, we love you. So it's people who know K-pop reference K-pop as well, or Korean artists. While unfortunately in some of these articles, the only reference point that they have, obviously a lot of Western artists were involved in these productions, but I think it's true for generally when they review K-pop songs that it's just it sounds like somebody when this actually wasn't their inspiration.
No, not at all.
So it's kind of, that's one point that I was thinking about. It was like really refinery.
I see you saving the best for last.
I'm trying to save the best for the last.
Okay.
Anyway, let's just go into, because this is going to be, guys, if you're interested in this, we could do like a whole episode of like digesting,
a review roundup, if you will.
You're so good, Ben. A review roundup.
Can you tell I've done writing?
Yes, I can tell. So, guys, let us know if you would like to do a review roundup, because then we can, point out things much better. It's almost felt like, the editors just came into the room and said, okay, guys, there is this BTS thing. There was this very awkward interview when Jeff Benjamin was asked by a CNN anchor, who was a lovely anchor, really good, political commentator, but he was asked to deliver news on BTS's recent successes, and he was making very awkward comments about, like, this is not my kind of thing, but my producer is forcing me to listen to it. So, Jeff, what do you have to say? And Jeff Benjamin just kept his cool. So again, he's the hero of the fandom. That's
the thing, though, is it's like it's bad for both people, both ends. Like these writers that don't understand K-pop, they don't want to cover it. They just have to.
Yeah.
And like us fans just have to deal with the rubbish that they put out. It's not really their fault. They're doing their best, but like they don't like it.
Okay. Next one is from a magazine, a very well established and very valuable, really cool music magazine called Pitchfork. This is gonna be trigger warning, everybody.
Spiciness coming up.
Trigger warning.
All the spice.
But you guys, we promote love and understanding and knowledge and experience and learning on this channel. So before we take out our pitchforks and do a bit of witch hunt, just try to understand where the guy is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we can understand, so let's start. Okay, this is
you're struggling.
This is already bad. This is so bad. Okay, let's see. So the first one was, the arrangement on persona are busy and convoluted. What does convoluted mean?
Like complicated and convoluted is like if it's like a path that takes 15 different turns to achieve the end or whatever.
So many lyrical highlights are buried in a meta, self-referential schlock rock.
Schlock rock.
Oh, yeah.
Such a journalist hack thing to say.
Anyway, two things to point out. One thing saying convoluted. So we just learned from Ben what convoluted means.
Yeah.
Which is again something. If you listen to K-pop, let's just mention a prime example: Sherlock, Shiny, or a very famous example. Not even the more experimental side of it. That would feel very convoluted then.
Because it's two different songs mashed together.
Yeah, or Girls. This guy should listen
to
Girls.
I Got a Boy.
We challenge you. I mean, this is probably such a knowledgeable journalist about music, but it seems that a lot of these things are just quintessential K-pop knowledge, but if you don't listen to it, then you don't know.
It's weird though that he's calling this convoluted. I don't think it is. I think these are pretty consistent songs.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's also very consistent compared to not just BTS's previous stuff, but especially K-pop series. This is make it right. Come on,
that was very...
listen to it again. I think okay. So and a meta self-referential schlock rock. Oh, this sounded very weird, but self-referential. I think the writer might be missing one point, which we mentioned, which is, who do you think this album is for?
Yeah.
Okay, so the reference is obviously doesn't really make sense to him that much, because even the title song, Boy in Love, Boy with Love, and the persona is sampling the previous song, and he's just gonna be like, what is that? Self-referential. What does it reference to? Dionysus, how hipster of them, lame. Get what I mean? Which, again, makes sense, because if this is your first impression, because if you don't, know their background, or K-pop's background. And this is where
schlock rock. Are you serious?
Would you like to read this? Because this is just so beautiful.
Oh yeah, I love this.
Okay, let's listen to this, guys.
Let me put on my I'm superior to everybody because I write about music voice.
Okay.
The album is bookended with songs built around the kind of inelegant instrumentation you'd find in royalty-free music or internal corporate videos, with big guitars and drums that sound as if they'd been airlifted in from a downloadable sampler pack.
Okay, that's That was a really good impression.
Also, for reference, I'm parodying Jim Sterling's his aristocrat who reads like hardcore gamer things.
Oh, that sounds very interesting.
It's very funny. I would recommend it.
It's like, and yeah, you know. But to be fair, he admits it. But to new listener lacking context, which is him apparently, the song comes across as sour and stale, which is a shame.
Not usually both, weirdly.
Yeah, which is a shame considering bandleader RM waxes poetic about his imposter syndrome, recapturing his motivation to pursue music. This is about persona, isn't it? And there you go. Meanwhile, Dionysus, the song that we just listened to, moves from a stadium-ready fuss to a shoehorned trap section to a contrived breakdown, with the members sounding as if they're being dragged along rather than leading with their voices. Okay, again, we understand that because the song is like it's put together weird and like we're not saying that it's the most perfect song ever, but this is slightly harsh.
No, I think though you have to look at it from their perspective, where they're listening to Western chart music, which usually just hits you in the face with a hook 15 times in a row. And
don't forget about the musical hook when you only hear like oh yeah, and like it's like a musical hook.
Whoop. Yeah.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's try to understand Pitchfork, which is bookended with songs built around a kind of inelegant instrumentation. Okay, we understand that, like, you know, it's obviously lacking. It's a lot of electronic sounds.
Yeah.
So that, you know, that we can understand it's not really his taste. You know, Pitchfork does cover like a lot of indie, for example. So it's like, okay, next one. You find royalty-free music in internal corporate videos. That's something, guys. I have a personal thing to say. With all due respect to this wonderful writer, I did edit corporate videos because I work for a communications agency, and I edited them all summer last year. And I was browsing through a lot of royalty-free music, which nowadays is getting better, much better than it used to be. And this doesn't sound like corporate video music, at least not the majority. That maybe just my taste when selecting the background music for an event, and in like an investor communications event video was maybe so sophisticated. But anyway, I don't think it sounds like that. It does not sound like that. Definitely more complicated, to say the least. So it's like a downloadable sample pack.
I don't see how they think that.
I think I understand, like, the electro-pop sound is definitely something that it's just not... You know, if you have, like, you know, really sophisticated writers from, like, Enemy used to be like that. Like, they rip apart things, and it's not a bad thing, because you have to have, you know, very positive feedbacks, and you have to have critique as well to get better.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm all about that brutal criticism, unfortunately, for some people. But, like... This just isn't warranted, a lot of this, I don't think.
Yeah. And again, I think the final thing that we would like to close on, this is kind of interesting, which this writer is saying to us, Noah, that persona falters because the band and their producers lose sight of crafting airtight songs in an effort to further the mythos they've built within their massive audience. And why I think it was interesting, because this is the end of the BTS universe officially. This album is a new era, and it almost goes opposite of what, you know, K-pop and ARMY, you know, critical sounds said, that's kind of, it doesn't build on that mythos anymore. So it's kind of like... What
mythos are they talking about?
I mean, I would love to ask him. I would love to talk with him. I think he's a very knowledgeable guy. Clearly, he knows a lot about music. So it would be good to talk to him. So, yeah, no, I would love to talk to you. So it's like...
Sorry for the voice I put on.
Definitely.
Blame Jim Sterling.
So it's interesting because it's kind of, again, the perceptions of this album because what the whole previous BTS thing was going on for, like, even from like the school of areas, especially with The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, was the whole narrative and the highlight reels and what's going to happen and the meaning of the song and the visuals and everything. So it had a like song storyline, which this doesn't have. So it's almost like the mythos, I would assume, or I thought the mythos of BTS is the strong narrative storytelling. So it's kind of interesting that he thinks that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was an interesting opening to a new era. So I'm actually curious how it will then go forward. And guys, I got lucky, so I'm going to see BTS in Wembley, at the Wembley Stadium, in less than 2 months, I believe, June the 2nd. Actually, no, more than 2 months. So in 2 months, June the 2nd, I'm going to see them. So probably Dionysus is going to be crazy live, so we'll see how that sounds. Thoughts on the album as a whole?
I'm not an army. I should like
disclaimer.
I'm not an army. So this album is not for me. It's all of this, like all of the songs pretty much, maybe apart from Dionysus, are about like army and BTS's relationship and their love for each other and stuff, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I don't care about that. I just want good music. And this, for me, was a big step down from the Love Yourself series. But that's just because that series was more the type of music that I like. But I just, I'm really hoping that the next Map of the Soul one goes places a bit more, because this, for me, was like very un-Korean, which I don't really like. Like, I felt... If you'd have replaced the lyrics of some of these with English lyrics, I could have mistaken it for like somebody else's record easily. It didn't sound very BTS, I don't think.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting thought, because again, with the lyrics, especially I think if you watch our previous video with Microcosmos, I went like crazy when I saw the lyrics, because I was like, this is us, and I understand, and like again, this is the fan relationship.
And
but
I don't care.
but this is okay, because this is how the world works. And I kind of agree with you. And we, again, in the previous video, looked into like who produced the stuff, and I'm in love with, Korean sounds, whether if it's hip hop, whether if it's indie, or, Bobangan 4, or like anything like that. It's just like I'm in love with, 70s Korean rock ballads that they then cover on immortal songs. So yeah, I would like to hear those as well on the next album. I think I agree with that. For me, it was a different experience because I am an ARMY. And I like the album, but I would say that I also prefer the Love Yourself series. My favorite album, to be fair, is still, I think, Most Beautiful Moment in Life, Part 1. Because that had both the previous moods of with like Converse High and Miss Right of like the school era kind of vibe, and like, West Coast hip hop type of, sounds and funkiness. But it also had the openings of the new era of, kind of, break your heart emotional BTS. So that was a combination of both. So that's my favorite album, actually. But, they go to places, and, we will definitely look at them, and the world follows them, to be fair, at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty much impossible not to. Like, even if you don't want to, you're going to end up finding them now. They're that big.
Yeah, let's hope that it also shed lights to, the genre in general, because this is what we think is important.
We don't have every single Korean artist having that checklist when they go on Western shows of like, how did you all learn English?
And what American artist would you like to
collaborate? Who's your celebrity crush?
Yeah, let's hope that it all gets better.
Can you show us some dance moves?
Yeah. To be fair, I think that is a good question. I don't mind that, because then everybody gets, shocked when they see like, Korean artists. They're just like,
yeah.
But yeah, so that's fair. I think that is a good point.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for coming with us on this journey. Again, let us know what you thought, and get into good conversations, peaceful, lovely, but very educational, in the comments. And let us know if you want us to do more review. What was that? Review roundup. A review roundup. Okay, so this was Ben.
And this was Ildi.
See you guys very soon. Bye.